Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's going on, everybody? It's me, it's R.W. Coolins with the Speak On His show. And first and foremost, giving honor to God who allows me to come at you in this manner on a weekly basis. Just trying to get these, get myself organized here, y'all, so we can get this show started. So I appreciate you tuning in. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here with me this morning. Let's get these formalities out the way. Let's get these glasses off so I can see what I'm talking about. How's everybody doing? All right. Little disheveled this morning. Y'all bear with me. Bear with me. Good morning. You know, it's a battle when you're the only man in the studio trying to work it all. It's a battle. So this morning, got a good show for you. Gonna touch on some different topics, different things going on in the world. And let me get myself together. But what we're gonna do right now, let's hit this intro and we'll be back in a minute. Let's go. Horns blow. Wake up, wake up, wake up. It's early Saturday morning, y'all. It's early Saturday morning with the Speak On His show. Let's go. Wipe that sleep out your eyes. Let's get ready. Let's go. Good morning. What's going on, everybody? Let's go ahead and get these formalities out the way. Social media, R.W. Coolins. That's all you need to know. R.W. Coolins. You can go there, find me on any social media platform, R.W. Coolins. Go there, find me. Website, rwcoolins.com. If you want to go one-stop shopping, you can go there and find everything you need at the website, rwcoolins.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can go through the website to get to that, the YouTube channel, and subscribe. All the videos will be posted there from the Speak On the Show, as well as the Just Coolins podcast. So you can go there, get see all the videos, watch all the videos, old videos, new videos, just all the videos. Spreaker.com, that's where you can get, just if you just want to listen to audio, you don't want to see all this here, you can go there to Spreaker.com, search R.W. Coolins, and both the Just Coolins podcast and the Speak On the Show audio only will be posted there after the show. All right, so that's where we're at with that. Call in number 844-904-2665. That's 844-904-2665. No matter what the situation is, let your voice be heard. If you got a comment, you want to comment on something we're talking about today, feel free to call in and we'll get you into the studio at that time. Also, if you don't want to hear your voice and you just want to let your voice be heard, you can also post a comment and I have the ability to put it up on the screen so everybody can see your comment. Don't get scared. You know, this is something that we're family here. Once you come in, your family, that's what we do here. So that's all the social media. We're going to get out of the way there. So, you know, I appreciate everybody tuning in. As I said, you know, this show today is going to touch on a couple different things. But what we're going to start off with is the one I always, I like to start off with, and that is the State of the Union. You know, there's a lot of different changes going on with the State of the Union right now. And I touch on this because it deals with the political and different things that's going on that affects you, me, everybody that we know, as far as the, what could be going on in the world today. So first thing, we seen the reversal, y'all. We seen the reversal. Mask. The mask change. President of the United States says wear a mask. I don't know what took so long. I don't know why it took so long, but he is now saying wear a mask. So I don't know what the change was, but they canceled the RNC convention, Republican National Convention in Jacksonville, Florida, because they say that because of the coronavirus and the threats of people getting sick, they're going to not do the convention. Now, they're not doing the convention, but they still want your kids back in school. They're not doing the convention, but they still want your kids back in school. Now, I ain't the brightest light bulb in the socket, as I always say, but I do flicker every once in a while. So watch this flicker, 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 flicker. that fluorescent light. Okay, here we go. So you're not having a convention with all your supporters, all the people that give you the nomination as a Republican candidate and everything like that, but you still are hell-bent on the children going back to school, even though the threat is the same, whether it's the convention or the school. You want kids back in school. I don't have school-age children, but if I did, I'd be upset. I wouldn't be sending them, but you have to make your own choices on the situation. I don't agree with it. Some will, some won't. I'm just giving you my side of the story. Baseball. Major League Baseball is back, and they're kneeling before the national anthem. We had a big game the other day, opening day, Yankees versus the Nationals in Washington, D.C., and all the players on both teams, I think one guy didn't take a knee, but most of them, majority of them, took a knee before the national anthem played. When the national anthem played, they got up, they stood up, nobody on their knee. Now, I'm torn between this, because my thing is, the reason Colin Kaepernick took a knee during the national anthem was to show, support to the oppressed people in the United States. So I'm trying to process and understand, by taking a knee before the national anthem, does it still have that same, that does it mean the same? Do we look at it the same? I'm torn, y'all. I'm torn, y'all. It's just one of them things where you're watering down, to me, the R.W. Cooling's opinion, you're watering down what it was all about from the beginning. So now, after everything we've gone through since Kaepernick took a knee and all the different debates about it and everything like that, now we're taking the knee before the national anthem. Does it still hold the same water? That's up for debate, y'all. That's up for debate. And this was done, they made a decision as a team, they were going to take a knee. I'm not sure if the initial message of taking the knee and why we took the knee is why he took the knee, Colin Kaepernick took the knee, is still holding the same by taking a knee before the national anthem. We like to water things down depending on what the subject is. I'm just going to put it out there. We like to water things down depending on the subject. Now, I found this website, astartingpoint.com, astartingpoint.com. It's a website started by actor Chris Evans, Captain America, him, a guy named Mark Casson, and Joe Kiani. And it's a video-based civic engagement platform. The mission is to create a bipartisan channel of communication. It's to connect the source between the Americans, which is you, and their elected officials. The goal is to create a more informed electorate. Now, I went in and I perused. That means I looked. I like using them words. I perused around the website a little bit. And what it is it's a website where you can go in and it has contributors. The contributors are people from the Senate, the House, governors, mayors, Democrats, and Republicans. Those are the categories as far as the contributors. And the people who have elected to do this, who are your elected officials, their pictures are there, their names are there. And then there's other areas where, and let me just break it down here. They do videos. The starting points is a broad set of questions, and the questions are posted, and you can click on the question, and any of the contributors, senators or mayors or whoever that decided to answer or put their feelings out there about this specific question, they have a 2-minute video about that specific question, telling you where they stand. Also, there's a daily points, which is a 1-minute view on a daily topic that any of the contributors can put into or put their opinion to. And then there's a counterpoints, where 2 different sides of the aisle, which the contributors choose who they want to kind of go against in a question, and they counterpoint. And each counterpoint is 1 minute apiece. I think the one I looked at, each one, I think, went and counterpointed, I think, 4 to 5 times against each other. So it's a good website to go in and look, try to find out and see where your electoral people, the people you put in office, where they stand on some of the situations and some of the things that are going on, and the questions that have been posted by you, the people. Because you go into the website, do as I did, don't look, peruse around the website and look in there and find out what, we need to. Let me just say this, and I'm talking about the website, but let me transition a little bit with this. The website's a good start, but what I'm going to tell you is we need to start really, really digging deep and understanding where these politicians or these elected officials or those running for office really stand and truly stand as far as benefiting you and your family, and the long term as far as policies and laws and the like. We've gotten to a point where we don't vote according to our interests. We vote according to Democrat, Republican, Independent. We need to get away from that. A lot of people won't agree with me on this, but there's a lot of Democrats that I agree with and don't agree with. There's a lot of Republicans I agree with and don't agree with. We have to get more of eliminating the party lines and understanding who's going to do in our best interest as the masses what we need done as far as passing laws, passing, anything that they do up there, they're dealing with the amendments, the constitutions, the laws, anything. We need to look at it in a broader scope rather than the tunnel vision that we've continued to do up to this point. And I will tell you, this is why, and I'm just going to put this out here. This is why we have in office today who we have in office today. Now, somebody may get offended by this, but I'm just going to put it out there. The reason we have who's in the office today is because people chose party over public. Let me just put it that way. There were many people who felt that Hillary Clinton felt that she was, it was destined for her to be the president. And a lot of people, that was a turnoff for them. And a lot of them who judged her when Bill Clinton cheated on her and all these type things, and the way she handled herself there by sticking by her man. A lot of people had a problem with that. But then a lot of people had a problem with the way she talked about Monica Lewinsky. Well, you can't have it both ways. You need to pick and choose of, okay, she was a strong woman. Even though he cheated, she decided to stand by him. But at the same time, whatever comment she had about the other woman, that's fine. I mean, everybody has been there one time or other. Maybe. I'll digress on that. Maybe you've been there, maybe you haven't. But what I'm telling you is this. The reason we had a person in there now is because people choose to go with the party line rather than their best interest. Because sometimes your party is not for your best interest. Think about it. Go into the website again, astartingpoint.com. Go in there, look around, listen to some of the things, and it'll give you an objective look of what's going on in the parties as a whole, because these individuals that are in there still are towing the party line. Just going to put that out there. Next topic, we're going to hit on more than a vote. More than a vote. This is a voting rights group founded by LeBron James and a lot of other athletes and celebrities. But, LeBron James was the one they put out in front to head it up and everything. A lot of black athletes and entertainers. They partnered with the FRRC, which you heard me talk about last week, the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. Let me say that one more time. Let's see if I can get it to flow. The FRRC, the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. They helped in the FRRC helped end the lifetime ban of voting for most people with convictions. I talked about this last week about how there was over 1 million people that weren't going to be able to vote in Florida because fines and fees that they were putting on them, where if they didn't pay these fines and fees, that they would not be able to vote. Well, the More Than a Vote and the FRRC have joined forces, y'all. They've joined forces. Udonis Haslem, who is also a Miami Heat basketball player, and he's a member of this group, he said, "We believe that your right to vote shouldn't depend upon whether or not you can pay to exercise it." And as I mentioned last week, to me, it seemed like a poll tax, even though they didn't want to call it a poll tax, seemed like a poll tax to me. But they joined forces. More Than a Vote and FRRC have joined forces, and they're raising money to pay the fees and the fines for those convicted felons in order for them to be able to vote on November 3rd. I let me tell you something. When I first seen it, someone brought it to my attention. I appreciate them. Thank you very much. And I seen it and I thought, man, I just talked about this last week. God is good. God is good all the time. Because when you really think about it, convicted felons, as I mentioned last week, are lost in the sauce and a lot of things as far as finding jobs and different things like this. But now we have people in the entertainment industry, in the sports industry, that are trying to do the right thing by these people because they see the injustice being done to them. So the More Than a Vote organization donated $100,000 to the FRRC. Now, these are the numbers that jumped out at me that let me know that there are still good people in the world today. Currently, the FRRC has raised $1.6 million to go towards paying the fines of these convicted felons in order for them to vote. They have 1.3 million to go. Now, I found these numbers last night, so it may be a little swayed. I don't know. They may have gotten more. But out of that 1.6 million they've raised so far, 13,727 people are the donators of that $1.6 million. Think about that for a minute. 13,727 people decided to donate money to this, and they've amassed 1.3 million. I mean, 1.6 million. They got 1.3 to go. When I went into the website, it starts off where you can donate $100, $200, $500, and then they have one where you can donate what you want, what you can afford. And I know it's rough times and everything, but I would say to anybody out there within earshot, if you have even $10, $5 to spare to help these people get back their right and their voice in the voting system, please, please, please go donate. It's wegotthevote.org. Wegotthevote.org. That's the website. You can go there, make your donation. I'm not getting paid for this plug, but I'm passionate about this because, you know, it's one of those things where people who have the right to vote choose not to vote. But it's one thing when you want to vote and you're restricted or being held back from voting because of fines or fees or because of a mistake you've made in your past that no one wants to, they still want to hold you accountable for, even though you've done the time. The average fines for each convicted felon that's trying to get their voting rights back is about $500. $500 per person is the average. Now, some are higher, some are lower, but the average is $500. Like I said before, they've raised 1.6. They're shooting for another 1.3 to reach their goal. Now, all this has to be done, and I appreciate her again for giving me this information when I looked on the website. All this has to be done in order for them to vote by November 3rd. All of this and them being registered, the paying the fees and them being registered has to be taken care of by October 5th. So there's a push to get this done. October 5th, we look at it, this is what, July 25th. So the push is on to get all this behind them. So, you know, if you can contribute. I'm not telling you what to do, but, you know, it's a small price to pay to give someone back the right to vote. $5, $10, $100. I'll be doing my donation today because last night I was going to do it, but you know, I got a little tired trying to get ready for the show. So anyway, we you know, if you can, we got the vote. Yeah, wegotthevote.org. Wegotthevote.org. Help those people out, y'all. Help them out because this election, We need as many voices heard as we possibly can to make some changes in what's going on in this society. Transitioning, mental illness. Now, this is something that is a stigma within the Black community. Let's just be honest. Everyone talks about it's a stigma in the Black community because we don't ask for help per se. We don't think we need to go to a doctor. We don't think we need to go to see nobody to talk about our problems. We don't want to expose what's going on with us personally to someone we don't know. Understandable. But let me break something down for you about mental illness. There's main groups of mental illness that I think everyone needs to hear again, even though you may know. I'm going to give it to you one more again. Again, 844-904-2665. That's the phone number if you want to call and make a comment. If you also want to comment, we're live on Facebook and YouTube. If you want to comment, type it in there. I'll post it on the page, on the screen so everybody can see it, and we'll continue from there. But mental illness, here are the main groups of mental illness. Mood disorders, which include depression or being bipolar. And we'll get back to that one in a minute. Anxiety disorders, personality disorders, psychotic disorders to include schizophrenia, eating disorders, trauma-related disorders to include PTSD, and substance abuse disorders. Now that's a pretty wide range of things that fall under the mental illness. But I'm going to bring this up and then I'm going to transition back. But I remember as a young man, young man growing up, and there were people in our community that we just, people just identify as being crazy. That's the word we use. That's how we identified them. But these were the ones that you would see walking the streets. They were talking to themselves, or they would be in the middle of the street directing traffic. And I'm not going to bring names up, but people in Frederick, Maryland know some of the names that I could bring up, but I won't do that. All I'm saying is there's a lot of things that we've seen as children that we didn't understand, and the label was always just crazy. As time has gone on and we've come and grown and started to understand and put, and I don't like using labels, but as we identified that it's more than just the word crazy, that there's mental disorders that people can have that cause them to act the way they act. Two names I'm going to bring up from this week that fall in this category. The first one I'll bring up is Tamar Braxton. Tamar Braxton this week tried to commit suicide. And they say, this is a part of a mental illness. Something's going on where, and the details haven't come out or anything like that, but there's a lot of opinions out there. And I'll say it this way. I'm not a big fan of Tamar Braxton. However, when I see things like this, it's not about being a fan. It's about having empathy. It's about looking at this person and saying, I hope and I pray that they can get the help they need, because what we see on the outside may not always be what's going on the inside. When I used to see Tamar Braxton, she was very boisterous about, I'm boisterous too, but very boisterous about, and it was a I don't care attitude portrayed and things like that. But you really have to look and ask yourself, was that just a cover, a facade, something to protect her from people identifying what may be going on with her? Just my observation, just a thought. You keep it, you figure it out for yourself. But I just put these things out there to give you something to think differently about. Then we talk about Kanye West. Kanye West, we've all, and I'm just going to say, I've been very critical of Kanye West at times. I've even said when he went in and got married to Kim Kardashian, that out of all the people that have gone in that family that came out messed up, him going in messed up, he may come out okay. Y'all don't judge me. That was my opinion at the time before I knew what I know now. This week, I also mentioned that Kanye was in the sunken place. Brought that up one time, jokingly. But now that I understand and I've read more about mental illness, it's not a laughing matter. As we've seen in front of our own eyes last week, he did this thing about him running for president in South Carolina, and it was, most people would say a train wreck, but I would say it was eye-opening. It was very eye-opening to the point that you can see by his actions and what's going on that he's crying out for help. Now, I got two views on this that I'm going to put out there. I'm going to start with this one, with the Kardashians. I want you to look at where Kanye is now and what happened in his press conference and everything. And now Kim and the family wants to talk about his bipolar disorder, how it's been affecting them, how they've tried to help him. All these different things are coming out now. My observation of this is they never spoke up about his bipolar condition. They never spoke up about anything going on with Kanye in this aspect. And in my opinion, the reason they haven't is because it's for TV ratings for their show. It takes away from what they're trying to do in the reality segment. He said some things that I don't agree with what he said when he talked about put it out there on Front Street that him and Kim had talked about aborting their oldest child. Well, he put it out there. They were very boisterous after this was put out into the media. Anything else he has said up to this point, it was mentioned, but not in the veracity of it was mentioned when he mentioned this in the media and to the media. Now, I don't agree with it because eventually one day his daughter's going to hear this. However, you cannot walk around like you're high and mighty and act like there's no issues within your household. We all have issues. We all have issues. We all have to tend to our issues. No, it's not a public thing. But when you decide to be a public figure, your life becomes public information. And the thing is, he is going through something where he felt comfortable enough to put this out there. And you have to ask yourself, what type of support system does he have at home for him to be out there to be able to feel comfortable just letting that out? Now, I've seen also where Dave Chappelle flew into Wyoming in his ranch where he's held up right now. He went there, and you know, Dave Chappelle, who him and Kanye are good friends. So Dave Chappelle flew up there to be with his friend to find out what is going on. I salute Dave Chappelle. Also, as much feedback as this individual gets, he went up there as well. Dame Dash. A lot of people may not know these names, but Dame Dash, who was part of Rockefeller with Jay-Z, and they brought Kanye in, he actually flew to Wyoming to spend time with Kanye. It tells you when the people who are closest to you see that type of breakdown and make it a point to come and find you, to sit down and talk to you, it's a sign. But like I said before, what is going on within that family atmosphere that is not helping him or pushing? And then he's scared because he thinks the Kardashians want to admit him to an insane asylum or something like that to get him checked up. I don't know the end story. I don't know the backstory. All I know is he's got people up there who truly care about him at this point, with Dave and Dame Dash going up there to see on him, check on him. But I will ask this question again, and I've asked it before when I talk about Kanye West. Where are they on a daily basis rather than when he has a breakdown? Where are they on a daily basis rather than only when he has a breakdown? Just put it out there. Now I'm gonna get a little personal about this mental illness thing. Back in 2006, when I retired from the military, I fell into a slight situational depression. I call it situational because it was one of those things that I was in depression due to the situation I was in. So when I was getting out of the military, you know, they have those classes you go to help you write your resume and all that, but they don't prepare you for the mental aspect of what you'll go through. And the mental anguish that I dealt with was trying to find a job. Am I going to be able to find a job? Will I make the money I was making in the military? Am I going to be able to find something that fits what I had while I was in for 21 and a half years? And I will honestly tell you, I dealt with that from about 2006 to probably about 2013, about 7 years. 7 years, I had lingering effects of me retiring from the military and that unknowing of what was going on with me and in my life. And what happened with me was I got into a depression because I didn't know what was coming next. Then I moved to Las Vegas and I started looking for jobs. And one of the biggest things was I was in DC, but I couldn't find a job. Couldn't find a job that was going to help me or make the money that I thought I should make. So that depression was kicking in. Then I moved to Las Vegas, and the first job I took after I got out of the military, I was making $35,000 a year. $35,000 a year from all the experience I had in transportation for those 21 and a half years, $35,000 a year. And then I got to a point where I was going to work, but I didn't know what my worth was because I was putting my worth when I was getting out of the military about how much money I should be making and my experience rather than putting the worth in who I was. So then I went from job to job, and I'll just summarize it. Within those years, those 7 years, I had about 8 jobs. Some were due to the economy at the time. Some were due to me not being a good fit as far as I felt. Some had to do with the fact of when you hire me, you tell me you want me to come in and do this, and when I'm in there and I'm trying to do it, you don't want it done that way. Not a good fit. So I had to step back for a minute and look at myself and find out what was going on with me. And as I was coming out of this situation of depression, I realized that sometimes in life we go through things, we don't understand it, we don't know where we sit. And everyone, and I was very fortunate that I didn't resort to things that other people resort to: drugs, drinking, all the different things you can think about that could be a vice to get you through that time. One of the things I did was I continued to go to the gym. I continued to work on my personal self. I continued to try to keep some sense of sanity, although I was going through what I was going through. I tell you this because none of us, and I'm not going to sit here on this microphone every week, talk to you and act like I haven't been broken, or I may still be broken. The point I'm trying to make is we don't know what someone is going through, what someone has been through, or what you may see or what may happen coming up in your future. But what I will tell you is if you need help, seek help. There's nothing wrong with talking to somebody. There's nothing wrong with seeking help when you feel broken. There's nothing wrong with admitting that you're broken. At the end of the day, if we remove the stigma of what mental illness is and eliminate that word of crazy out of it, you will be surprised how many people will go for the healing that they need rather than hide from the people who can help. That's just my little tidbit. I mean, like I said, I've been there, not to the extent of a Tamar Braxton or Kanye West. However, I understand what they may have gone through because I've been there with the situational depression I went through, and not knowing what your next move is or how you're going to come out of it, or if you're going to come out of it. Let me tell you something. It's not something that, and I'll say it jokingly, it's not for the weak. It's not for the weak. And I say that jokingly, but in the big scope of things, you have to be able to find help. You have to be strong enough to ask for help. You have to find within yourself to know that you're worthy to be here, that you're worthy, that someone is willing to help you get past whatever you're going through. Next segment. This is my favorite here. Mind, body, and soul, baby. Mind, body, and soul. For those that don't know, I take a quote, statement, phrase, word. And what I do is I read it to you, and then I elaborate on it. So here we go. Mind, body, and soul. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to be. Let me read that one more time. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to be. And that quote is from Carl Gustav Jung. That's Carl Gustav Jung. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to be. We all go through our trials and tribulations in life. And as I just mentioned, we may have some things that affect us mentally, physically, emotionally, all the different ways that you can think of. But what we find out as we go through life is these are not things that should define us. These, your current situation should not be your final destination. Because sometimes in life, what we do is we realize that what we go through, it's not always something that we can fault to ourselves. It's not something, it could be the environment you're in. It could be something from past that creeps in. All these different things can play factors in what goes on with you and what happens to you. But one thing you have to remember, whatever happens to you does not define who you are. Whatever happens to you does not define who you are. People who see you, people who look at you, people who recognize you, what their opinions about you do not define who you are. You are what you choose to be. You know, as I mentioned before, when I was talking about the situation of depression and I came out of it better than I was when I went in. And I say that because after going through it and being able to reflect back on it and seeing why I was there and what was going on with me and why I looked at money as being my worth. When I first got out of the military, I was looking for money to substantiate my worth of my career for those 21 and a half years. And it put me in a depression mode where I thought, if I'm not making this amount of money, then everything I've done is in vain. This is the mindset we get sometimes where we think money is the cure for everything that goes on with us. But what happened to me at that time made me realize that money, as they always say, you know, a lot of people say money is the root of all evil. No, money is not the root of all evil. Money exposes the evil in people. Money exposes the evil in people. Money exposes how we are structured, and our mindset is that if we're not monetarily satisfied, that we're nothing. Well, I'm here to tell you, what happens to you when you go through things, mental, physical, all those different things, you have to be grounded in yourself. Sometimes we have to reflect back on how far we've came to realize why we're still here. And the reason we're still here is because we still have a purpose. Do not let what you've been through dictate who you're going to be or who you choose to be. You have the final say in that. You know, I talk about this passionately because I've gone through battles, and we've all gone through battles where people have put labels on us and try to identify us as who we are and what type of person we are. And something I always say is people talk about this person's this and this person's that. And one thing I always say is, unless you know a person's heart, you really don't know that person. And that's the one thing that we always choose to protect is the heart. We don't let people get close to us because we're worried about them breaking our heart. But today, with this conversation, with the mental illness and with the situation of depression, and not letting what happened to you, dictate who you become, I would tell you to open your heart, open your mind, and don't look at everyone you come in contact with as being someone that's going to do harm to you. Get to the point in life, at this stage of our life, with what's going on in this world right now, to understand that we have to take care of us and also be someone that other folks that may be going through something can come to, or be comfortable to go to someone else when you need help. One of the things people used to say, and I used to laugh at it, but I truly understand it. I'm glad I don't look like what I've been through. I'm glad I don't look like what I've been through. And I'm going to leave it with this, and you're going to laugh about this, but I'm just going to put it out there. I talk about when I was going through my situation depression when I got out of the military, and I was only making $35,000 a year. But I had to sit back and laugh when I was thinking about this the other day, because what came to my mind was I was going through a rough patch at one time back in anywhere between 87 and 90. And I ate ramen noodles. Hear what I tell you now. I ate ramen noodles for a year because financially, that's all I could afford to eat was ramen noodles. Every once in a while, I had a little extra money. I get some eggs and some cheese and stuff like that to break it up, put it in there, give a little sustenance so I would be full. But ramen noodles, hey, I could write a book about 1,001 ways to cook ramen noodles, but that's another story for another day. But what reason I say that is this: at that time when I was going through, and I just had enough money to pay my rent and barely eat, but my pride still made me get up every day, go to work every day, put that uniform on every day, shine those boots, go to work like nothing was wrong. Rode a bike in the snow uphill both ways I mean, and when I say both ways, there was a hill going up to the gate, there was a hill coming down from the gate. I'm just saying, I dealt with all these things at that time, and it never put me in the mindset of not being worthy. It put me in the mindset of survival. When you're down and out, a lot of times our instincts kick in to survival mode. And that's what I did at that time. So when I look back on the part, on the part that I just talked about when I was going through the situation, depression, I asked myself, what happened between 87 to 90 and 2016? I mean, 2006. Let me get it right. 2006. What happened in that time period where it didn't kick in? The survival mode didn't kick in at that time. And it wasn't that it didn't kick in. It was a different aspect of kicking in. Because what I have done was when I was going through that in 87 to 90 in those years, compared to what I went through in 2006, the difference was the mentality I had at that time compared to what I was expecting in 2006. Because what you find out is that as you go through life, as you grow, as you've done things, you look to expect certain things, not only of yourself, but from those that you know. And the people that I knew in 2006, I felt had turned their back on me, didn't reach out to help me, didn't do the things I thought they should do to help me find a job. When I seen others that they were helping find jobs. And then when I really reflect on it, it wasn't the fact that they weren't helping me. It was the fact that at that time, that's not the help that I needed. The help I needed was more mental in my own self than it was somebody reaching their hand out and saying, here's a job. It's just one of those things that you have to be able to look back, focus, and understand that what you go through does not stop you from who you choose to be. We're coming to the end of the show. Just to wrap up, I talked about different things today. We got the vote.org. Go there, make that donation. Startingpoint.com. That's that website. Go there. Listen to what these politicians have to say. We got an election coming up November 3rd. Get out there, pay attention, listen. And one thing that I would tell you, I'll use this website as an example. Go to that website, look at what the politicians are saying on the website in those 1 minute scenarios, and try to pull yourself away from the Fox, the CNN, the MSNBC, and all those different channels of what their opinions are about what's going on, and look at it coming straight from the politician's mouth, because they're going to lie. I mean, they're going to tell you what you want to hear in most cases. However, you can go through and dig through what's real, what's not real, what you want to take in, what you want to let go. All that's they're accessible to you. But I think the website's a good start for where we're trying to get to. When I talk about mental illness, keep Kanye West and Tamar Braxton in your prayers. Hell, keep me in your prayers, because even though I'm here and even though I've come through, hey, I'm still battling every day. There's something going on with us every day that we're still battling. And, as I did a video before, I'm not okay. And I don't think any of us are okay 24/7, 365. If you need help, get the help you need. Don't be ashamed. People are going to talk about you whether you get the help, but they're going to talk about you even more if you don't get the help. I'm just going to put it out there. As I always say. Oh, there's one more thing before I get to that. Ice Cube. Ice Cube put out a document the other way, a 22-page document about for the Black community, as far as things that we need to be asking for, not asking for, but we need to be pushing to get. I'm not going to say asking for, but things we need to be pushing to get. Ice Cube. Just Google Ice Cube 22-page document. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it deals with the Black state of America, what we need to be doing as far as for us to move forward as a people and getting what we think we deserve or what we know we deserve, as far as what this country has held back from us and what we need to do. Go there, Ice Cube, 22-page document. It should come up for you. I read some of it. I haven't been able to read all of it, but once I get through it all, trust me, I'll bring it to you and give you my opinion. As I always say before I sign off, love yourself, love one another, keep your head up, and most definitely, keep your faith in God. It's me, RWC, RW Coolings. Make sure you go to the website, check everything out, YouTube. This will be posted here shortly. And I appreciate everybody tuning. Make sure you go. Make sure you go. Make sure you go. And like or subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also subscribe to the Facebook. I'm getting confused, y'all. I'm trying to do too much. Subscribe to all the platforms that I'm on to get that followership up, because I'm going to try to condense it down to being able to come at you in one manner rather than all of them. So if you go and follow me through the YouTube, all the videos will be there. I'm doing these Facebook Live and YouTube Live every Saturday morning. And the Just Coolins podcast every Wednesday. Didn't do one this week. I had some things going on, but we'll be back again next week with another video. I appreciate y'all. You could have been anywhere, but you chose to be here with me this morning. Love y'all. Holla at me. Have a good weekend. Peace.